you've pissed off Milo now, which I think's great.
That's a badge of honor. Yeah.
Yeah. If something's going to tell me I'm doing something right, it's going to be pissing off the most repulsive human being on the face of the planet.
That was hilarious, and remains hilarious as I set my new alarm system when I leave my house and make sure nobody's breaking in and
Not exactly.
thanks to the FBI. Yeah, laughing through the tears, and the death threats.
Michael James Schneider, thanks so much for being on the Nonfiction. How are you?
Thank you, Johnny, for having me. I'm really good. It's funny to hear my name that way because I think only my mom uses my full name.
It's so funny, and we'll get into this a little bit. Online presence, like social media presence, if you have your name put a certain way, you just become that way forever. I at one point I started going by Johnny Taylor Jr. only to differentiate myself from the soul singer of the same name. And now I will get introduced when I'm doing stand-up, Johnny Taylor Jr. I'm like, really, it's just Johnny Taylor. But I think you are an interesting case study in viral content because I will be honest, at one point, I never saw quotes in balloons against a brick wall. And then one day I did, and then I never not saw that.
I'm so sorry.
For a year straight. So tell me a little bit about where that idea came from, and did you ever think in a million years that out of your art career that would be the thing that ended up being so huge?
I hope you put air quotes around the word art. I'm pretty self-deprecating about the content I put out. And no, it was really just a commentary on social media. I think, it's probably the laziest thing that I could comment on too, of wow, as an artist, I'm going to make content about commentary on social media. And I do that a lot. I make fun of social media tropes like balloons and endless series of selfies, which is why I'm in just an exhausting amount of my own photos. Anything that's on social media is ripe for the taking.
Right.
And so a few years ago, I started doing the balloons, and it was original content, believe it or not. And it was, the caption was, "Do what scares you the most," and it was spelled DOO. And the piece was, it spelled out, "I just pooped at work." So it was a far cry from the quotes or social justice quotes that I've done more recently.
Right.
But it was a hit, and I thought it was hilarious, and just graphically, I loved how colorful balloons looked on walls.
It looks cool.
So I just ran with it. And this past, probably about a year ago, is when the account just absolutely blew up. That's not a balloon pun.
And if it was,
it would be okay. We'd allow it. But it really blew up, and I'm glad it blew up so quickly and so huge, and that the posts go, bonkers viral, number of followers, or however often these kinds of posts get reposted, or even the hate that I get on social media. Believe it or not, a couple people don't like me, and it's all kind of abstract and surreal to me, and I feel like that helps keep me grounded in a weird way.
Yeah, at some point it becomes something bigger than what you're doing or you. Now, as a comedian with opinions on Twitter, I am no stranger to hate. A lot of people have gotten great joy out of what you do. It's inspired a bunch of people. A lot of them have inspired me personally. But it works the opposite way for many people. And as I've read, sort of opinion pieces, I've read people's, performative woke, things of this nature. How does that affect you? Does it make you sad? Or are you just like, yeah, people have opinions?
Yeah, that's a fair question. And what is it? Is it there's a meme. It's like, "Your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer."
Right. Yeah. And I love that, actually.
Yeah. And I'm not opposed to being, held accountable if I post something that maybe a community doesn't like, and I'm like, oh yeah, didn't think about that. That's outside my lived experience. Yeah, that was a bad thing.
Right.
I'll learn from it and apologize and do better.
Right. I mean, it's balloons.
Yeah, it's not exactly subtle, but I also do forget to, and that abstractness and the surrealness of it can also work against me. When I don't think about the impact, like the balloons are so loud, they scream the message. I mean, even since Box Wine Boyfriend in 2018, I think that was when that blew up, and I did this project where I made a fictional boyfriend made out of boxes of wine after a bad breakup. That blew up huge too. But even then, something so like innocuous and relatable and like sad and hilarious as that, like people still were just like, oh, you should like go kill yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. Like over the years, I've developed such a thick skin. If it's not somebody who I'm already like making art for, if it's not already like someone who may be a fan, then I don't care. Like I think it just, I mean, what other artists can say like, oh, somebody made a whole meme format. Somebody made like a meme generator. And that's incredibly flattering and honoring. So it's a really long answer to your really short question, but the hate that's more constructive, but the stuff that's like this is cringe. All right, cool. Like I'm going to dive in and be even cringier.
Yeah, I mean, it's important, the contrast, because I tweet my dumb thoughts too much, I would admit. And some of them are just dumb. I'm high and I'm posting something silly. You know what I mean? And when somebody hates that, that's fine. But when I fuck up, and I do, when I'm insensitive, that is something where I will actually think and be like, that wasn't the best idea. And I try not to dirty delete where you're like, I'll just act like that never happened. But I will sometimes say, yo, that was dumb. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And I've seen you do that on certain pieces. I think that's important. Personally, I appreciate the accountability. You've pissed off Milo now, which I think's great.
That's a badge of honor. Yeah.
Yeah. If something's going to tell me I'm doing something right, it's going to be pissing off the most repulsive human being on the face of the planet. So tell me a little bit what happened.
So that was hilarious, and remains hilarious as I like set my new alarm system when I leave my house and like make sure nobody's breaking in and thanks to the FBI. Yeah, laughing through the tears, and the death threats. No, but I had this idea. I was at a balloon shoot with my friend Cole. And it was probably like 4 or 5 p.m. at a wall that I use a lot, and I love using a lot. It's a sort of like a healthcare clinic down the street called Zoom Care. It's this bright blue wall. I just remember this moment of me like sort of scrolling Twitter for a second while we're at the shoot and being like, holy shit, his account's suspended. His account's suspended. I want to say it's Friday. I don't remember. And of course, it's documented like the day that Trump's account was suspended. But it was great, and just all of a sudden, all of these screenshots were posted of his suspended account, and I thought that there was just something so sad, but also so interesting about everybody posting their own screenshots of his account and just celebrating, a fascist being silenced.
Right. Yeah. Fun.
So I got home, got on the phone, talked to my friend Alex, who runs this really great bakery called Hungry Hero, and I've collaborated with him in the past. And he was like, oh, like my photo cake person is out of town. I already knew I was going to make it into a cake, into a photo cake. The internet has an expiration date with any joke.
Gotta hit it.
And so I knew I had like 24 hours to do this. So I bike over to my Fred Meyer, have the screenshot on this USB because they make you jump through all these hoops to do a photo cake at a grocery store. And I give it to them, and they call me the next day. I'm at work the next day. and I tell my boss, I've got to take a long lunch. I'm going to take a long lunch. And she was absolutely gracious about it.
Right.
She didn't know what it was for. I've got a retail day job that keeps me really humble, and they've seen the art kind of blow up over the past year. So she was like, just do what you got to do. Take a long lunch. I take an Uber. I run to pick the cake up. I come back home. I change to this dorky Ned Flanders green sweater, take the photo, post the photo, clock back into work the rest of my workday. Don't even think anything of it.
Nice.
I was like, that's gonna be a hit. And of course, I clock out from work and I like look at my phone and I'm like, okay, well, that one got out there.
You have 100,000 new notifications.
Yeah, exactly. Thank goodness I've turned all my notifications off from all my social media now. I have a much healthier relationship with social media the past year. So on Sunday, I hear that Milo Yiannopoulos got a hold of the photo and posted a caption. And I think he posted this on Parler. I want to say it was the day that it got taken down. Like it happened to get closed down that day or that night. And he posted on Parler during that day. And I think it got reposted on Reddit and everywhere else. Of my photo with my face and my name on it,
right?
And saying this, I can't remember it verbatim. I don't know if you have a better recall than I do. I have the memory of a goldfish, but something like this photo alone justifies like the existence of armed people killing everybody in New York, Washington, and California. And he didn't even get Oregon in there. He didn't even say Oregon, just where I live.
Didn't even get where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. He's like a big dipshit. So who knows like how sincere he was about that, but obviously knows that people are going to take that seriously.
He knows his format, you know?
Yeah.
He knows who's following him.
That's that's his version of balloons, talking about killing liberals. And he so he posts that. I guess they take Parler down, and the next morning I wake up to death threats, and I'm sure I had gotten doxxed, although I have my contact information on my Instagram too. And so a bunch of people like posted on my phone, like texted me and left voicemails for me, really, really harassing, and death threats, and people implying that they knew where I lived. And it seemed to mostly be these like QAnon dipshits, but it was really an uncomfortable experience. And I called, my same boss, and I was like, I have to take the day off work and manage this.
Gonna take some PTO.
Yes, exactly. And luckily I had the next 2 days after that off, that Tuesday and Wednesday, but I took that Monday off, and reporting a social media post to the FBI, never heard back from them. Thanks.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Your tax dollars at work. There's something crazy to the fact of I made a cake, and now I have to call the FBI.
Yeah. I want to spell that in balloons. I missed my opportunity.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. That's a weird 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, thanks so much for being on the Nonfiction.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Johnny.